Hello, everybody. Scott Golden here with the Golden Opportunities Coaching and Pro Wrestling Logic, which is where you are YouTube channels. If you're looking for a life, business, relationship coach, go over to Golden Opportunities Coaching, my main channel. Check that out. But this is the Wrestling Challenge review series for the 28th of February 1993. It's an international view this week, and actually, I believe it's German subtitles on the program itself, so that's kind of interesting that I was able to find an international version. I guess the U.S. and Canadian version's not as available readily on the internet for this particular time frame, 93 or so. But February 93, getting ready for WrestleMania 9, which, well, not exactly the best of Manias there for sure. But they're getting ready for it anyway. A couple of months away from Yokozuna becoming the WWF champion, which is a big deal. First time in a long time they've been a heel champion. And they are also planning for the summer tour that of Europe that I think is the second European tour in history. Maybe no, probably the third. I think 80, 89, 91, 93. They do bigger tours. Anyway, Shawn Michaels is in fact your Intercontinental Champion, and he's making his way to the ring here. Does a enhancement match with Bob Young. Michaels is a heel by this point, obviously. Intercontinental Champion, having won the match in 1992, October that year, from the British Bulldog. So he's happy with that professional progression. Still married, I mean, still managed by Shuri. Bob Young providing the adversarial things, and then Michaels around with an arm bar, and a slap to the face. Obviously, Shawn Michaels, trying to find himself here. I would say by the summer of '93, he's hit his stride and goes up for the next 3 or 4 years to be one of the best in the world. Michaels turns a cross body pretty assertively into something of value there. Dropkick under the chin by Shawn Michaels, and it's there. It's tight. He also hits a flying clothesline slash forearm off the apron of the ringside area, and Michaels then manages to make fun of his adversary. Hits a couple of super kicks along the way here. Hasn't officially started using the super kick as a finish. Picks him up, drops him, and super kicks him a second time. Almost just trying to get under the chin there of and under the skin and then under the chin of the man. But picks him up and has a second super kick round about it. And they hype WrestleMania 9 as one would expect. WrestleMania 9 report. Of course, we get the announcement of where the continued plugging of Bret Hart and Yokozuna. Hart basically says he may be big, but he's not willing to back down. Shawn Michaels and Tatanka announced. Michaels basically says Tatanka is a joke. Tatanka has been, at this point, is still undefeated, and the idea that he could beat Shawn Michaels, actually, he does beat him in a couple of tag matches and six-man tag matches. Never beats him as a single, though. They're plugging the headlock on Hunger process. Lex Luger and Mr. Perfect is announced. Doink and the issues with Crush are brought about, and basically that whole run is a pretty major deal. Steiner Brothers up next in an enhancement match. Steiner's relative, I'm sorry, the Bushwhackers. For some reason, I thought it was the Steiner Brothers. I think it's because I've done another one of these, and Steiner Brothers had a match right after Shawn Michaels. The Bushwhackers are still here. The Intruder and Cassie Cleric are there. Bushwhackers wearing a bunch of merchandise. By 1993, Bushwhackers are are not worth writing home about. Put it that way. Uh, Punch, kick, gut buster, battering ram, 1, 2, 3, and over. Absolutely nothing of note in this match. Although, what's amazing is the love that kids have for them as a team. Pretty big deal. They do a sports shot with Mr. Perfect catching a football with a football star, for lack of a better term, which at the time, thinking that this is airing on a national, I think it was Walter Payton actually, but thinking that this is airing on an international program, Henning alongside, you know, somebody of greater renown, for lack of a better term, pretty big, pretty big deal. In accord with all that stuff, and it's there. It's interesting. It's unique. It's certainly, a pretty notable thing, for lack of a better term. And then, I mean, 1993 was the beginning of the major fall. 92 was the last good year, really strong year. By 93, I think they were struggling. New ring announcer who looks sort of like a Cy Sperling type individual. Mr. Perfect has a babyface out here doing an enhancement match. Of course, he turned babyface in November 92 to replace the Ultimate Warrior in a tag match with Ric Flair and Razor Ramon. And again, he's going into a match with Luger at Mania. Not exactly the greatest match of his career, but it is what it is. Dropkick under the chin by Henning, and Henning is happy with all that's going on that way. Actually, sends the enhancement talent over the top rope with a chop, which is a weird way to send a guy over. Brings him back in the hard way, and the fans are taking a good bit of pictures. Henning again takes the man back to the corner, hits several chops on his adversary, and kind of, makes things go. Perfect flex, 1, 2, 3, and over we go. And literally, Mr. Perfect goes over, winning the match. Obviously, not a big surprise to anyone of note at this time. Then we go to another enhancement match. This time, Virgil and an enhancement guy. I believe this is actually Superstars with a voiceover. Virgil at the time actually treated like more of a, I don't know if I'd say star, but pretty big deal. Actually, what's ironic is Virgil has some interesting offensive maneuvers, drop kick, hip toss, and a Japanese arm drag, which for a guy his size, pretty big deal. Virgil dives off the apron with a crossbody off the apron, also a pretty big deal. For as disconnected as Virgil was as a person mentally, he is a good athlete around this time. And, hard shots, Virgil, hard to get a great match out of, but if there's an enhancement talent willing to make him look good, he can look decent. Hard clothesline right on the jaw of the guy. And Virgil, not exactly always the safest guy, but at the time, getting a pretty good babyface run. Odd at the time that he would be the African American equivalent of the best that they had to offer, which is just bizarre. Breaks down into a suplex, followed by working over the back of the knee. So the psychology of Virgil's match is certainly not A1 tip-top shape there, but it is what it is. Virgil manages to do everything he can to get victories as quickly as he can. Not a big surprise in that regard. Head Shrinkers up next. Samu and Fatu with Afa. The Head Shrinkers are, of course, a relatively new tag team coming in late 92. By this point, kind of finding their way. Big double launch, kind of fresh slam style maneuver by the Head Shrinkers. They are pretty well seen as savages. Gut wrench suplex, kicks and punches. At this point, Yokozuna also in the organization. He's months away from winning his first world championship, and that's that in itself is interesting. Just the time frame and watching the evolution of Yokozuna. If you haven't already seen on the WWE network, the Icons, I think it's Icons, nature of things. That's a worthwhile documentary to see. A power bomb, double team power bomb on one of the enhancement talents is there too. They launch into the from the top rope with a diving headbutt there or a diving splash there. Do the head shrinkers and lots of heavy intensity, but obviously they are successful in winning the matches that are most important, for lack of a better term, and the head shrinkers go on to be a pretty major team for about another year and a half, winning the tag belts along the way, and uh, being being a major force. Of course, the Barbarian replacing Samu at a point, but the Samoan family super dedicated to the process of the professional wrestling industry and business. They show a very long segment from Monday Night Raw, which I'll save for a Raw review when I actually go back and trudge through 28 years of that magnificent, magnificently bad show. Although the first several years of Raw, probably 4 years, I enjoy a lot of, but that's back when wrestling was wrestling. Slick and Kamala, Slick of course turning Kamala babyface, which we're helping him to turn babyface, which is an odd thing to look back on. Kamala, the Ugandan giant, and babyface seem like odd words, but Kamala hits a leapfrog and punch, punch, kick, kick, chop, chop, big splash. Fans help Kamala realize that he's going to turn his opponent over in order to gain the victory, because if he doesn't turn him over, well, the victory's not happening. And that's that. I mean, it's a pretty simple run there. Um, all the way around, and we kind of get again the Slickster trying to direct Kamala's steps. It doesn't exactly go exactly the way he wants, but there's a happiness there. Then we move to, and I miss. Um, Actually, I did not misspeak earlier. In any event, we see a music video. I think it's the WrestleMania music video with all the stars from the Slam Jam album of 1993, which was bigger in the UK than it was in the States, oddly enough. I guess they had fond memories of Pile Driver, the album, or something. Yokozuna is here getting ready for his WrestleMania run. Punch, kick, Uranagi style suplex, and a bonsai splash give him a victory here, headed toward Mania. Bret Hart and what was one of his better matches. Anyway, that will close us for today. We may be back with more of these later today, but until next time, keep your feet on the ground, your mind in the moment. Until next time, everybody.